Well, for whatever reason, there is no video today, apparently, as far as I can see at least. Unless there's something. No. Nothing there. Well, let me see. Let me check that out. At least we can do this. So apparently today we're gonna have a full screen summary without me, without everything, which I guess is also fine to some degree. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead with Getting Things Done by David Allen. Amazing book, very interesting book, pretty philosophical, which may be something rather different when it comes to these types of non-fiction books, since it is indeed very practical, I'd say, and not that philosophical, not something like how to get the best mindset or some shit. Anyway, I think that we have stopped, and I try to remember anything that does belong where it is, where open the loop, pulling it. This is what we have seen. Though is thought is useful, I guess this is where we stopped. Managing action is the prime challenge. What you do with your time, what you do with information, and what you do with your body. And indeed, all of these things are in our control. All of these things are controlled by us, We can do it. We really can, if we want to. And if we decide to do so. Which is amazing. Pretty amazing. But yeah, period. That's it. You can't do a project at all. You can only do an action related to it. There's usually an inverse relationship between how much something is on your mind and how much is getting done. More intuitive choices based on your options instead of trying to think about what those options are. You should have thought about all of that already and captured the results. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh. Let's just plug this fucker in so that everything is fine and everything is good to go. You should have thought about all of that already and captured the results in a trusted way. Don't waste time thinking about things more than once. I guess it depends, doesn't it? If it is something that is rather significant, then I'm gonna think about it more than once. Your mind will keep working on anything that is still in that undecided state. Yeah, would say so as well. Capture, so there are 5 points. Capture what has your attention. Clarify what each item means and what to do about it. Organize the results, which presents the options you reflect on, which you then choose to. And the 5th one, engage with. Most people have major weaknesses in their first, which is capture process. Capture what has your attention. Well, I would say so as well, And it is very meta, This may also be the reason why it is difficult. But anyway, most of their commitments to do something are still in their head. Many have collected lots of things, but haven't, second, clarified exactly what they present or decided what action, if any, to take about them. Yeah, I guess. Isn't this kind of the case for all the New Year's resolutions? First of all, you want to do something, but second of all, you do not really know what to do, maybe even how to do it. And this is kind of where the problem starts. I don't know. I want to do more sports, but how should I do this? What is the plan gonna be like? Do I have a plan? Am I gonna make a plan? And so on and so forth. Separate these stages. Don't try to do all 5 stages at one time. So I do want to repeat them. The first stage, capture what has your attention. The second, clarify what each item means and what to do about it. The third, organize the results, which presents the options. Which presents the options you. Okay. The fourth, reflect on, which you then choose to, and the fifth, engage with. As soon as you attach a should, need to, or ought to an item, it becomes an incomplete. Capture into containers that hold items in abeyance, whatever that means, until you have a few moments to decide what they are and what, if anything, you're going to do about them, as well as those things on which you have done everything you're ever going to do, except acknowledge that you are finished with them. Empty these containers regularly to ensure that they remain viable capture tools. Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good idea. Capture into containers that hold items in until you have a few moments to decide what they are and what, if anything, you are going to do about them. Oh, I see. I'm having something on my mind. Gonna put this into a container, a category, to get rid of it, I would say. I do really indeed hate it when there's something on my mind and it is floating around, and it really is indeed kind of interfering with my, first of all, productivity, second of all, kind of ability to do anything, and third of all, like, also kind of maybe my motivation to do something. It's just floating around, it's just taking up space, and when I can put it into some sort of a container, then I can just get rid of it for, this certain period of time, which is amazing, I would say. I would think, I would argue. It is better to be wrong than to be vague. You can't organize what's incoming, you can only capture it and process it. Instead, you organize the actions you'll need to take based on the decisions you have made about what needs to be done. And this kind of ties into the other things, like what needs to be done. And it is actually pretty interesting that he's always pointing out, like, if you do something, when you decide to do something about it, which kind of implies that there are many things you do not have to do anything about quite. Pretty interesting, I'd say. Just interesting to theoretically think about it. Like, okay, there is X, Y, and Z, and I do not really have to do anything about it. Period. No action required. 3 possibilities. Well, first of all, it's trash, no longer needed. Second of all, no action is needed now, but something might need to be done later. So incubate. Third, the item is potentially useful information that might be needed for something later, which then is a reference. What is the next action? This is the critical question for anything you have captured. If the action will take longer than 2 minutes, ask yourself, am I the right person to do this? If the answer is no, delegate it to the appropriate entity. If the action will take longer than 2 minutes and you are the right person to do it, you will have to defer, I guess, acting on it until later and track it on one or more next actions lists. I would, in general, suggest writing down more things. And, this is a suggestion for myself as it is for you, because you just get rid of things, You're able to just lay them down, get rid of them, get them out of your head, basically, if you write them down, because it is on this piece of paper. You don't have to keep it in mind. It is somewhere, it is somewhere safe. And this is amazing. This is pretty cool. Just because it saves time, energy, and headspace quite. To manage actionable things, you will need a list of projects, storage of files for project plans and materials, a calendar, a list of reminders of next actions, and a list of reminders of things you're waiting for. I just thought about, okay, I have a phone, I can put it on it, but I would argue that it is something different if you're just writing it down in your phone compared to writing it down physically on a sheet of paper. It just feels differently for me. If it is a thing for you, differentiate. If it isn't, just don't care about it. A project is any desired result that can be accomplished within a year. That is strangely formulated, I would say. I don't really know what to think about that, to be honest. Every action that has to happen at a specific time or a specific day, enter those on your calendar. Those that need to be done as soon as they can, add these to your next actions list, or those that you are waiting for others to do, put these on a waiting list, or a waiting for quote-unquote list. 3 things go on your calendar: time-specific actions, day-specific actions, and day-specific information. Nothing else. Subdivide your next actions list into categories such as calls to make when you have a window of time on your phone, or computer actions items to see as options when you're at that device. Similar to some days slash maybe, but that probably need a review only when you have an urge to engage in a particular kind of activity. These would be lists such as books to read, recipes to try, movies to rent, weekend trips to take, things my kids might like to do. Especially when somebody says movies to rent. What does it say? For me it just says, well, this is a really old book. I do not want to scroll up because I can. Let's just see. Do I see any date here? Well, I would argue that, well, first of all, it is at least 16 years old. This is what I can say. And probably is way, way, way older. But having such a list, I think, is good. The item you will probably review most frequently is your calendar, which will remind you about things truly have to be handled that day. Everything should be reviewed once a week. Ensure that all these loose strands of the past few days have been captured, clarified, and organized. The weekly review is the time to gather and process all your stuff, review your systems, update your lists, and get clean, clear, current, and complete. I do especially like update your lists and review your systems, to really make sure that the systems that you're using at the time do really work for you, your lifestyle, and who you are, period. But yeah, I think this has been quite enough information for today. Gonna see you next time. Bye-bye.